Welcome back to my channel Celebuzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. He secretly dated Rock Hudson. Now we know why Brad Davis was born. Robert Creel Davis was born on November 6, 1949 in Tallahassee, Florida. He grew up in a regular middle-class Southern family. His dad was Dr. Eugene Davis, who fixed teeth and served in the Navy. His mom was Ann Creel Davis, a stay-at-home mom who later worked at theaters. From when he was little, Davis loved to perform and tell stories. But he had tough times at home and wondered about who he was and what he wanted to do. He found comfort in acting and art. His childhood had both creativity and sadness, which would later help him act with real feelings. When Brad was a teenager, he started to really want to be an actor. After trying to be a musician and singer for a little while, he went to Florida State University. But he quickly knew that he wanted better training for acting. His love for acting took him to Miami-Dade Community College and then to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. That's where Davis started to get better at the natural talent that would later make him one of the most emotional actors ever. Brad Davis started his real acting job in the early 1970s. He acted in theater shows and people noticed his natural acting style. He quickly started doing television, getting small parts on shows like Policewoman, Kojak, and Starsky and Hutch. His early roles showed he was a good young actor who was great at playing troubled, passionate, and often misunderstood characters. Davis's big break came in 1978 when he starred in Alan Parker's exciting prison movie Midnight Express. He played Billy Hayes, an American college student locked up in Turkey for drug smuggling. Davis gave a raw, powerful performance that amazed audiences and critics. His acting as Hayes was both physically and emotionally intense. It was an unforgettable performance that won him the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Drama Movie. Midnight Express wasn't just a big hit at the movies, but also got people talking. It started debates about prison systems in other countries and the American justice system in other places. After getting great reviews for Midnight Express, Davis was suddenly famous. People said he was one of Hollywood's best new actors. He followed up with great performances in A Small Circle of Friends in 1980, which was about the political protests of the 1960s, and Chariots of Fire in 1981. In that movie he played Jackson Schultz in the Academy Award-winning film. Even though he wasn't the main character, being in such important movies proved his place among the best actors of his time. In 1982, Davis gave another emotionally powerful performance as Ned Weeks in the first off-Broadway show of The Normal Heart. Larry Kramer wrote this important play about the early days of the AIDS sickness. Davis's choice to take this role when many people were scared and mean about AIDS was brave and caring. It showed his personal desire for fairness and kindness. During the 1980s, Davis kept working in movies and television, but his career started having problems because he struggled with drugs and health issues. Still, he gave great performances in movies like A Rumor of War in 1980, Chariots of Fire in 1981, and Querelle in 1982. In 1980, Davis played war reporter Phil Caputo in the biographical made-for-TV movie A Rumor of War. The same year, he got top billing for his role in the film A Small Circle of Friends. In 1981, he played American runner Jackson Schultz in the Academy Award-winning film Chariots of Fire. In 1982, Davis played the main character George Quereline in the film Querelle. This was director Rainer Werner Fassbinder's last film before he died from a drug overdose. Brad Davis, known for his amazing performance in Midnight Express in 1978, lived a personal life that was full of love, strength, and fighting for respect during hard times. Away from the movies, one of the most powerful parts of his life was his lasting relationship with his wife, Susan Bluestein, and their journey as parents to their only child. Brad Davis married Susan Bluestein, a respected and successful casting director, in 1976. Their marriage wasn't just a romantic partnership, but also a deep emotional team that would be tested many times by the challenges they would face together. Susan was very important in Davis's life, both for work and personally. She helped him through the good times of his Hollywood career and stayed strong during the hard times that came after, including his struggles with addiction and his later fight with HIV. Bluestein, who really understood the entertainment business, helped Davis handle his acting career while also protecting him from some of its more harmful parts. She became more than just a wife. She was his anchor during tough times. When Davis found out he had HIV in 1985, a time when people were really mean about AIDS and didn't understand it, Susan stayed by him without hesitation. Together, they made the difficult and brave decision to keep his sickness private for many years. This choice wasn't because they were ashamed, but because they were scared for his career and their family's money. Susan's commitment went way beyond just emotional support. After Brad's health got worse because of AIDS-related problems, she became his main caregiver. As the disease got worse and Brad's pain became more intense and impossible to handle, their relationship reached a heartbreaking turning point. In 1991, Davis made the hard and controversial decision to end his life on his own terms through help with suicide. Susan stayed at his side until the very end, respecting his wishes, supporting his choice, and showing how deep their bond was. After he died, Susan went on to speak out for AIDS awareness and the right to die with dignity, keeping Brad's memory alive. Through her activism, Brad Davis and Susan Bluestein had one child together, a son named Alex Blue Davis. Alex was born into a family known for both artistic talent and emotional intensity. He grew up in a place that encouraged creativity and strength. Alex eventually followed in his parents' footsteps into the world of entertainment. As a child, Alex saw firsthand how complex his father's illness was and how quietly strong his mother was. After Bradied, Susan took on the job of a single parent, teaching Alex empathy, courage, and self-awareness. Over time, Alex would grow into his identity and career, becoming known not just as an actor, but also as a musician and activist. He got widespread recognition for his role on Grey's Anatomy, where he played Dr. Casey Parker. This was a groundbreaking role because Alex is a transgender man playing a transgender character, helping a lot with representation on mainstream TV. Alex has talked publicly about his journey, including the legacy of his father and the strength of his mother, talking about both the love and the pain that shaped his life. Through his work and activism, Alex honors the memory of his father while building a name of his own, one that shows a deep commitment to being real, brave, and creative. In what would become one of the most interesting and honest revelations from Hollywood's hidden history, actor Brad Davis, best known for his gripping performance in Midnight Express, shocked the world when he opened up about his romantic relationships with a number of secretly gay actors from the golden time of Hollywood. Known for his good looks, rebellious charm, and intense emotional range, Davis himself had long lived on the boundaries of sexual identity, keeping a carefully created public image, while privately dealing with a much more complicated reality. As he got older and more disappointed with the unfair standards of the industry, he became more willing to tell the truths that had once cost men their careers and, in many cases, their peace of mind. In a series of letters and journal entries published after he died, Davis told about several of these secret relationships in vivid, heartfelt detail. He described the loneliness and excitement of loving men whose public images were carefully built by studios determined to keep homosexuality a forbidden subject. He wrote with respect and sadness about a leading man from the 1950s, described as a silver screen, God with a jaw carved from marble and a laugh like whiskey, who taught him about tenderness in a world built on fake things. Though Davis chose not to name this man directly, people quickly guessed it was a handful of handsome figures from that time known for their bachelor lifestyles and fiercely protected privacy. But Davis did name names too, at least one in particular, that sent shockwaves through both Hollywood and LGBTQ circles. He revealed a brief but passionate affair with Anthony Perkins, the mysterious star of Psycho, whose own struggles with identity and holding back had long been talked about in rumors. According to Davis, their relationship grew during the late 1970s, when both were living on the edges of Hollywood society. He was gentle, haunted, and so beautiful in his hiddeness, Davis wrote. We understood each other without needing to explain why we hid so much of ourselves. We were like shadows touching in the dark. The actor also mentioned a flirtation with Rock Hudson, arguably the most famous secretly gay star of his time, though he stopped short of claiming a full affair. Davis described their interactions as charged and playful, filled with longing and laughter beneath a layer of polite indifference demanded by the room we were in. It's not clear whether anything physical ever happened between them, but Davis's writings hinted a mutual understanding, a silent agreement between men who knew too well the risks of living honestly in a ruthless industry. Davis's revelations have been met with a mix of fascination and respect. For many, his writings opened a long closed door on a part of Hollywood history that had been deliberately erased or hidden. His courage in revealing these stories, despite the personal risk and the taboo surrounding homosexuality during his lifetime, offers a rare look into the personal lives of gay actors who gave up their truth for the sake of their careers. Now looking back, we are beginning to understand more about why Brad Davis and Rock Hudson kept their relationship hidden. It wasn't just the pressures of Hollywood, it was also tied to the terrifying start of the AIDS crisis in the early 1980s. Rock Hudson, who had been one of the first famous celebrities toady of AIDS-related complications, passed away on October 2nd, 1985. His death shocked the world and served as a wake-up call about the deadly epidemic that was hurting the gay community and being largely ignored by the mainstream media and government. What many didn't know at the time was that Brad Davis himself had also been diagnosed with HIV in 1985, the very same year that Hudson died. The timing is scary and deeply meaningful. Davis kept his diagnosis a secret from the public for years, continuing to work in film and television while fighting the illness privately. The shame surrounding HIV AIDS during the 1980s was intense, often fueled by wrong information, homophobia, and fear. People living with HIV were often pushed away, and those in the entertainment industry faced not only the physical toll of the illness, but the added trauma of being shunned or blacklisted. Davis's decision to keep both his relationship with Hudson and his HIV status secret says a lot about the environment they lived in, one where love and illness had to be hidden away, where vulnerability was met with silence or scorn. In 1991, a few months before his death, Brad Davis made the courageous decision to go public with his diagnosis. His widow, Susan Bluestein, later revealed more details in her memoir, After Midnight, shedding light on Davis's personal struggles, his bisexuality, and the immense emotional burden he carried. In the years since, the story of Brad Davis and Rock Hudson's hidden relationship has taken on a touching historical significance. It represents not only a private love story overshadowed by fear and disease, but also a powerful reminder of the human cost of silence. As more is uncovered about their lives, we gain a deeper understanding of the sacrifices they made, not just for each other, but for their careers, their reputations, and their dignity. Their legacy now serves as a reflection of an era when being true to oneself could come at the highest of prices. Today, as we look back on these connected lives, the secrecy surrounding their relationship and diagnosis speaks volumes about the era they lived in. It also serves as a powerful reminder of how far society has come and how much farther it still needs to go. Brad Davis and Rock Hudson were more than just talented actors. They were human beings caught in a storm of fame, fear, and forbidden love. Their hidden bond and tragic parallel paths remain one of Hollywood's most touching and powerful untold stories. Brad Davis, a gifted and charismatic American actor best known for his powerful role in Midnight Express, was diagnosed with HIV in 1985, a time when the disease was still largely misunderstood, deeply stigmatized, and often associated with widespread fear and social isolation. At the height of his career, Davis was faced not only with the devastating personal implications of his diagnosis, but also with the sobering reality that revealing his condition could effectively end his ability to work. In Hollywood, the entertainment industry, already notorious for its fickleness, was particularly unforgiving when it came to health-related disclosures, especially those involving HIV/AIDS during the 1980s. Consequently, Davis made the difficult decision to keep his diagnosis a closely guarded secret. His silence was not driven by shame or denial, but by a fierce determination to continue acting, and above all to provide for his family financially and emotionally. For the next several years, Davis fought an increasingly uphill battle against the progression of the disease, all while maintaining a brave public facade. He worked sometimes in film and television, quietly struggling with the physical toll illness was taking on his body and the psychological burden of living a double life. Few people outside of his immediate family and trusted inner circle were aware of his condition. His courage and resilience were evident not only in his continued work, but also in the stoic manner with which he confronted his illness in private. On September 8, 1991, at the age of 41, Brad Davis died in Los Angeles. The public was stunned by his untimely death, and it was only in the final weeks of his life that the truth about his health began to emerge. The revelation that he had been living with HIV for 6 years without public knowledge cast a new light on the challenges he had faced behind the scenes. Several years later, in 1997, Davis's widow, Susan Bluestein, a respected casting director, broke her silence in an effort to honor her husband's memory and bring awareness to the realities of living with HIV/AIDS in Hollywood. In her candid revelations, she disclosed that Davis had likely contracted the virus through intravenous drug use, a habit that had been part of his tumultuous past. Davis had struggled with substance abuse during his early years in the industry, a battle that was deeply intertwined with the emotional pain he endured in his personal life. Despite eventually achieving sobriety, the long-term consequences of his earlier drug use had already taken root. Susan also confirmed what many had only speculated. Brad Davis had made the conscious and heartbreaking decision to end his life through assisted suicide. He had chosen to die with dignity, using a deliberate drug overdose to escape the suffering caused by the final stages of AIDS. This act, while controversial, reflected his desire to retain some control over his fate in the face of addicts that had steadily robbed him of his vitality and independence. His choice highlighted the agonizing decisions faced by many people with terminal illnesses, especially at a time when effective treatments for HIV/AIDS were still in their infancy, and compassionate end-of-life options were rarely discussed openly. The depth of Davis's private struggles was further illuminated through a book proposal he'd written prior to his death. In it, he described the immense pressure to conceal his HIV-positive status, not only to preserve his career, but also to shield his loved ones from the stigma and fallout that such a revelation might provoke. His words painted a haunting portrait of an artist trapped in a system that prized image over honesty, and in which vulnerability was often seen as weakness rather than bravery. The unpublished manuscript served as a poignant testament to the emotional and ethical dilemmas he faced, and his story became a symbol of the broader cultural silence surrounding HIV/AIDS in the entertainment industry during that era. Brad Davis's legacy, however, did not end with his passing. He is interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills, a resting place shared by numerous stars of stage and screen. His burial there signifies not only his lasting connection to the Hollywood community, but also a quiet acknowledgement of his contributions to the world of film and the deeply personal battles he fought while in its midst. Over the years, fans, friends, and advocates have visited his grave to pay tribute to a man who gave so much of himself on screen and who endured so much in silence behind the scenes. In the decades since his death, Brad Davis has come to be remembered, not only for his talent, but also for his courage. His life and the posthumous revelations surrounding it have contributed to broader conversations about HIV, AIDS, addiction, stigma, and the importance of compassion and understanding in the face of suffering. Through the efforts of his wife Susan and others who have kept history alive, Davis has become a quiet yet powerful symbol of resilience, a reminder of the hidden struggles so many endured during the early years of the AIDS crisis, and of the urgent need for continued advocacy and openness.